Both GALA and Algorand are two of my favorite crypto projects, and I've been making multiple videos about them recently because they are such hype and exciting projects. But I've got some really disturbing news for you if you've been buying Algorand and GALA, and that's that most of you won't be able to walk away from this crypto bull market in any profit at all. But don't worry, I'm going to teach you exactly how you can avoid all the pitfalls that everyone else is going to make, and how you can be one of the top 5% of people who actually make money buying cryptocurrency. So do me a favor, guys, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Let's get into today's video. So guys, you've done your research. You've identified that GALA is sitting in a fantastic position as basically an OG in the GameFi arena, an arena that's going to be worth something like $67 billion by 2026. You've also identified that Algorand, the world's most powerful and sustainable blockchain, as proclaimed by Algorand, is going to also do very well in this bull market. I also believe that. I think that these tokens have phenomenal upside potential. Whether we're talking 20, 30x, you're not going to be unhappy. If you're talking higher 50x's beyond, which could potentially happen in a really extreme bull market, that's also very exciting. But there's a very big difference between talking about those percentage upsides and how you're going to play the game once that game kicks off. Now, if you're new to trading, or maybe you've been in trading and crypto for a little bit of time, you've probably identified that you could go and watch loads of YouTube videos that teach you how to be a good trader. And it's really not that difficult to identify trading patterns and to understand how trading patterns work. And you can watch a YouTube video that tells you where Bitcoin's likely to head and where Ethereum's likely to head. And you can watch it and maybe understand exactly how it all works. But why do so many traders fail? So many Forex and crypto traders better off getting a 9-to-5 job when only a tiny percentage of people actually make money. Well, it's because of this. I talked about this before on the channel, just a slightly different looking version, but it's the Wall Street cheat sheet, or a version of the Wall Street cheat sheet. This is for crypto, and it does have a timeline on it, but don't pay too much attention to this timeline. But all we need to look at is the market cycle. You can see at different levels, different psychology comes in and takes over. Now, this is very interesting because this psychology shows us at which levels of the market we could potentially be at. Right now, I think we're kind of edging out of the depression phase and we're kind of moving into kind of the disbelief phase. And we could be potentially moving into a bull market, although I don't think it's going to be quite as aggressive towards the upside as this. I think it's going to be spread over a longer period of time. And the problem with crypto, more than Forex and stocks, is that crypto has the ability to move extremely aggressively. So people who've never really bought anything before go in at this level because one of their mates has been talking about something, and they can buy like $1,000 of Algorand or $1,000 of GALA, and that then goes and does like a 10x, and they're suddenly like, wow, I'm literally the best trader in the world because I've just made $10,000 in GALA. So what do? Well, they probably go and buy some more, and maybe they buy some more, and next month they get another paycheck and they start to buy some more. Now, it's easy to sit here right now and say what you're going to do, but eventually it will pull back and they say, right, I've got another chance to buy. They buy more, and then instead of pumping all the way up, it gives you a little fake out, it comes back down. Then we do something which might sound like the really stupidest thing to do, and it is the stupidest thing to do, but there's a reason we do it. We do this because we don't want to know what's happening. So when you're looking every day at your cryptocurrency portfolio, and I'm pretty sure that many people have been doing this in the last few weeks, because about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had Bitcoin sell up around 24K, and then we saw Bitcoin fall towards the downside. And like GALA's gone down 50% in that period of time. And my Telegram community, which is linked down below and absolutely free, so get into that, and my videos and everything like that has been much quieter. And that's because people are not wanting to pay attention right now. And I get it. What we're doing is protecting ourselves. That scary feeling you get when suddenly you wake up and your account is down 20-30%. It's exactly the same fear you get when you're a kid, okay? When you're thinking there's a monster in the cupboard or whatever it is. And you can't differentiate between that fear. The fear of losing money and the fear that kind of keeps us alive as humans, right? We're scared of things that are potentially damaging to us. And that's why it can really have a huge impact on us. But we've got to be aware of that. And if we're aware of that, we can overcome it. So why are we so scared? Well, this fairly grainy picture of this guy called Bart Douglas, who sadly passed away, wrote a book called Trading in the Zone, and he discusses trading psychology like no one else I've ever heard of. And if you are a bit geeky about trading like me, it's worth going and reading this book or watching YouTubes about him at least, because he's phenomenally interesting. As kids, we all basically got told that you can't fail, okay? Every time you did badly in a test or something, you got maybe told off by your teacher or told off by your parents. So when you lose money in trading, you can't cope with the fact that maybe this is a mistake that you've made and you take it really, really badly. So instead of facing what's happened and paying attention and maybe taking your money out, instead, you're then just left burying your head in the sand and letting it collapse all the way back to the downside. Why I'm specifically talking about GALA and Algorand, I could also be saying this about HBAR because all of these right now are super hyped up and all of them will do very well. I think that we are going to likely see spikes at points like this one that we saw from GALA. Now, it's all very easy to sit there right now and say, I'm just going to put in this amount of money and then I'm going to sell for $1. How many people do you think bought GALA down here at 1 cent and was saying, I'm going to sell it when it gets to $1? The dollar is up here. It got to 83 cents. So if you put in $100, you would have had $8,300 at this point. If you put in $1,000, you'd have $83,000. And you were saying you're going to wait for $1 to turn up. Guess what would have happened to the majority of those people? Where are they? They're still here. They're still in GALA. And now they're sat back at the same price. And yes, while they have the opportunity to do that again, it's so stupid. They basically haven't made any money. Maybe they haven't lost any money, but they've not been able to use any of that money for the last few years. So how do we combat these issues? Well, as I mentioned, it's extremely difficult. Because for you to be able to sell crypto up here, someone needs to buy it from you. So someone needs to do something stupid and buy the top, and then most people sell the bottom. If you could do the opposite, like buy the bottom and sell the top, the human mind's telling you you're going to continue like that. And yet we did this. And you never know, at some point you might pull back. It's extremely hard. So there's a few things you can do. First of all, I already talked about this on a few videos this week about GALA, HBAR, Algorand. They have this kind of like cult following. People get very angry if I say anything slightly towards the negative or slightly like I'm not all in on GALA or all in on Algorand. People get really upset about that. I don't really take it personally. It's fine. What I am concerned about is if you are that attached to a particular coin, it's going to really end up hurting you. So you need to understand that maybe different things can happen. Just because you have the anticipation that GALA is going to be worth like $5 in the future and it doesn't quite get there, when it doesn't quite get there, you're going to get really hurt, okay? So how do we overcome that particular feeling? We need to dissociate ourselves from these tokens. If this project does well, great, I make some money. If it doesn't do well, then fine, I move on to the next one, okay? So what we need to do is we need to have a plan before we go into a market. I think the best plan right now, considering where GALA is, I'm going to use GALA as an example. We'll look at Algorand in just a moment. Where GALA is right now in the market, let's say we are kind of somewhere like this. As I've said, I don't think we're going to see quite a similar push like that. Could be a bit more of a kind of a gradual one like that. Could be wrong, I'm not sure. Doesn't really matter, okay? But all I need to know is I'm incrementally going to take money out of this. So back to all-time highs. All-time highs were like 83% here. Currently down here. Now, what would be a very sensible way to do this? So once it gets to $20, I would have 5.5x to my money. So if I got $1,000, I would have just turned my $1,000 into $5,500. Now you're probably going, well, yeah, GALA's going to go to $1, and it might do. That's absolutely fine. But how do I safeguard myself against any upset and problems? Well, I can take maybe a percentage of that out. So let's say I take out $1,000 and I leave $4,500 in GALA at this point here. I can then put that $1,000 perhaps into another token. I could turn $500 into cash and keep it for whenever. $500 could go into another crypto, like a Bitcoin or an Ethereum, something slightly less volatile. Then I've got my $4,500 and now I get up to 39 cents. So let's say that's pretty much double, right? Let's say 40 cents. I've got that 4.5 grand. I'm now sat on 9 grand. Now I can maybe take out another $1,000 or $2,000 and put it into maybe a Bitcoin or an Ethereum or maybe something else. Remember, I've still got that $1,000 that I took out down here, and now I can take out maybe $2,000 here. So I started with $1,000 and I'm already up $2,000, right? That other money in the market is up, but it's paper profits. Paper profits are meaningless until you cash them out. So trust me on the fact that paper profits are meaningless. So let's say we've just taken out 1K here, 2K here. If you've been paying attention, we've still got 7 grand left in the pot. So let's write it up again to, let's say, $60. Now we've just added another 3.5. So we've now got 10.5 grand sat in GALA up here, but we've also taken out 3 grand. So now what we could do is maybe take out another 3 grand. And that means that we've now taken 6 grand out the market. We've actually 5x'd our initial investment, but we're still in the game. We've still got $7,500 to ride up to the next level. And you get the picture. And why this is very, very powerful is because if we get to like here and we miss this spot and we turn all the way down and for whatever reason it does this, I'm not saying that GALA is going to stop at that point. I'm just saying that this is potentially could happen. What I would say is incrementally do this the whole way up, and eventually it's going to turn around and it's going to miss this one and it's going to come back down, and you could potentially miss out on everything. But that's fine because you've taken money out of the market. Some guy started with like $5,000 in 2016, turned it into $600,000 a year later, lost it all, did the same in the next bull market, lost it all, and he's now sat probably waiting to do the same again. If you do this and take money out, yes, you might not make as much money if you just left it all in to $1 and, happy days if it goes to $1, great news. But if it doesn't, for whatever reason, and you miss that swing high, then you could lose everything. And instead of using that money to invest in something sensible, then you basically haven't done anything at all. You've just watched yourself make money on paper and then lose money on paper. So yeah, this is the most sensible option, and this is what smart people do when it comes to trading crypto, stocks, anything. Now you probably realize this. What I've just said is the model answer and what you should be doing. But when you get candles like this one you saw on Algorand and this one here, I guarantee you're going to find it extremely, extremely difficult to start cashing any money out because the greed is going to take over. So how do you know you're being too greedy? Because that is when the market is trying to make you feel like that. And if you pay attention to what people are saying in YouTube comments, in Telegram groups and whatever, when everyone is super, super bullish, then do the opposite. Cannot emphasize this enough. If everyone's telling you to be buying something because it's going to go to the moon, it's probably not. I'm telling you right now. And the flip side of things, like we're seeing in the last week or so with Bitcoin falling towards the downside, you've probably got everyone telling you now that they're waiting for Bitcoin to go to 10K. This is greed as well. They're waiting to get down to 10K because they want to get in cheaper. I guarantee they're going to miss out. Okay, so right now we're seeing the opposite. Everyone's telling you to sell because it's going to go lower. Now, not financial advice, but I wouldn't do that if I was you. So basically what I'm doing is loading up at these points. And you've got a big advantage over most of the people who will enter the market later on because you will stand to make some good gains, but just make sure you realize those gains, guys. Please, please, please. That's how you're going to separate yourself from 99% of people in crypto who will leave the next bull market, even if they get in now, with pretty much nothing because they panicked and they lived without sleeping for a couple of years because they never really understood charts. All they did was play on their emotions. They got lucky, thought they were incredible traders, and got seriously, seriously burned. The harder something goes up, the harder it will come down. So be very, very cautious of buying into pumps and things like that. If you want to get in, wait for the push, wait for the pullback. If you want to get into something, guys, wait for the pump and then wait for the pullback. Bitcoin giving us a nice example of this. We had the pump, people would have bought here, and a lot more people would have been buying Bitcoin here than they are buying here. But buying into this area is a much healthier option than buying there because we've seen a big decline. Personally, I'm looking to load up into crypto right now because I see Bitcoin having a pump here and then a push further up. And what tells me that isn't my crystal ball, but seeing everyone in like Twitter and stuff saying that Bitcoin is now heading to 10K, I'm just going to do the opposite of the masses because it seems to work more times than anything else. Guys, I hope you liked that video today. If you did and you found it useful, hit that like button for me, hit subscribe,